Good evening and welcome to another episode of Pegasys Presents. I'm Lauren Stefanelli, Access Coordinator here at Pegasys, and today we've got a more serious topic. We've been just doing festivals like crazy all spring and summer long, and today we've got something that's got an entertainment component to it, but it's also got a really serious message. We've got a group here from Interlaken and thereabouts up on the west side of Cayuga Lake who have a group called Lily's Marching Hope. And with me are Carrie, Natale, and Addie Barlow, who are both representing the group. Why don't you start, Carrie?
So a few years ago, I teach dance and baton lessons out in Interlaken, and Addie brought her daughter Lily to take some dance lessons. So as soon as she signed up, shortly after she signed up, I think she was diagnosed with Juvenile Huntington's disease, which I had no idea about. And Addie had mentioned to me, just to let you know, my daughter has this disease, and that was kind of the gist of it. I didn't really know what it was or how it would impact Lily. She seemed to be like any other normal young dance student. She could get into first position and do her pliés and go into releve and dance around, and she participated in a recital with us. And actually, Ella, her older sister.
And this was at what age she started? 6?
5 or 6?
Might have been 6.
6.
Yeah, 5 or 6 she did.
Her older sister, Ella, would come with Addie and watch the lessons, and Ella would always come and kind of mother hen with her sister, her younger sister. So I just asked Addie, why don't we just have Ella come and join this group, because she's
here
already
anyway.
doing it. So the two of them did a dance together with their team the first year, and they continued. And
wait a minute, you said a dance.
Yes.
But I thought these were twirlers.
I teach dance and baton.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and lately I teach them together, the combination class.
So there's a combination dance and baton twirling?
Yes, because you need to have a dance background to be a good twirler.
Okay, that sounds pretty exciting
like
and really
ice
fun for
skating
little girls.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So they participated in our first recital and did very well and came back for another year. Ella was getting a little bit older and more advanced, so she went to a different class, and Lily stayed in the class that she was moving up with, and I started to notice some of the symptoms. What I noticed is that she couldn't get into her positions as easily. She couldn't do her pliés or her
So she was
leaps.
losing skills that she'd had previously.
Yes, and she was becoming more stiff when we were on the floor and doing warm-ups. The dexterity that she once had, she was losing, and the flexibility wasn't as great as I had seen the year before. And so I started doing some research on my own. You know, I'm looking on Google, and I was blown away at what was ahead for this little girl. I had no idea. And so we continued throughout the year, and I believe she participated in that year's recital. The following year, and she would march in parades with us. And the following year, always like huge smile, and she's the biggest giver of hugs. She will give you a hug. If you look at her and smile, she'll be hugging you. She's so generous and positive. So the third year, she took lessons, and I don't know if Addie knew or what was going on, but she decided to sign Lily up for everything she could do. So she was in double everything. We had 2 costumes and 2 routines and 2 dances, and she was doing as much as she could. And very close to our recital, she sadly was just starting to fall more. She was wearing a helmet now. She was getting some assistance with a wheelchair. And we decided that it wasn't safe for her to continue without somebody standing right there and holding her. She would fall without doing anything, without doing any dance movement.
Right.
She would sit there and fall, and I just couldn't have that on my conscience of her getting hurt at that point. And so Ella, her older sister, did continue for that recital, and it was probably, I can imagine, pretty hard for Lily to come and sit through a recital where she knew the routines but wasn't able to participate. So at that point, Addie reached out to me and she said, you know, my kids really have enjoyed this, but for the sake of what our family's going through, we're gonna not have Ella continue with baton. Since Lily loves this, it would be harsh to see her sister come to all the events and everything.
So Addie, why don't you tell us a little bit about Lily?
So Lily, like Carrie said, is a lover of life. She has enthusiasm regardless of where she's at. She wants to participate. She sees kids. She wants to give everybody a hug and wants everybody to love her. And she's had this zeal for life from the get-go. And she doesn't have a down day generally about anything, about whether, and you asked earlier whether or not she knows and understands, and I don't know that she does, and maybe that's a grace of God that she doesn't necessarily get all this, but she doesn't care. She just lives life. And so that's my kid. She's a fighter and not a sit down and let this happen to me. However, she is smart enough to know when it's time to, I'm not going to do that. She gave up riding a bicycle one summer. She was like, I've fallen too many times. I'm not going to do it anymore. And as much as we tried to help and pat her, she's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And she didn't give it up with a tantrum. She wasn't crying. She wasn't throwing a fit. She just said, you know what? I'm not going to ride that bike anymore. And so we adapted and we moved on. And she doesn't ride bikes anymore, but she goes with us. Her grandfather puts her in a little chariot behind her, and she goes with us, and she continues to enjoy life as she can.
And how old is Lily now?
Lily is 9 now.
Okay.
Yep.
And she was 6 when she was diagnosed with this illness?
No, she was 5 when we got the diagnosis.
Okay.
Yes.
So she's had symptoms for 4 years. And,
Yep.
and could you tell us a little bit about the disease so we understand a little bit?
Sure. It's a hereditary disease. It starts with wherever your family originally got it. It is a gene mutation that multiplies so much that it then starts to get into an area where you start seeing symptoms and can, so her father has it, his father had it, and further back that direction. Unfortunately, when children show symptoms at an age that like Lily, it's generally because the gene has mutated so much that they see signs, and it's usually a very quick demise of those children.
So this is a fatal disease then?
Yes. They won't be curing it as much as the Huntington's community is working to find a cure for Huntington's. It is going to help adults that the progression is going much slower than it will the kids with juvenile Huntington's, because unfortunately their lives are much shorter.
And so at a certain point, Carrie, your group decided that you were going to take your group, which was called the Pride Dance Twirl Corps, and turn it into Lily's Marching Hope. How did that happen and why?
So I had been thinking a lot about Lily. She was on my brain. And all summer, I just couldn't get her symptoms and her struggles off of my heart. And I just, you feel helpless when you have a friend going through this, and you can't, like, just giving her money isn't going to help this go away. Bringing her food isn't going to help. What can I want to do something to help. And so it just came to me that if we organized a group that would advocate on Lily's behalf, that was something that she once loved, that would be a powerful tool to spread the news about JHD and to get people informed and
Junior Huntington disease.
Yes. Yes. And that would help people make donations and help find a cure for this disease.
So now you've taken your spreading the word to another level. Tell us about that.
So we have a very exciting project now. We are actually working towards marching in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So
Macy's
the
Thanksgiving
big one,
Parade.
the very big one. And what is exciting about this is it's not just my core of 60 kids. I do a lot of judging and traveling with competitions, and during the course of that, I've had the opportunity to share my story with other twirlers and other coaches, and we've gotten 107 other, people to join us in this audition for Macy's and to spread the word about JHD. So we have people from Niagara Falls and Grand Island, Seneca Falls, Trumansburg, South Seneca area, Dryden, and Corning, all coming together.
These are all separate twirling
All
groups that
separate twirling
ordinarily
groups.
practice and compete
Yes,
separately?
against each other. We usually compete against one another. And all these girls and their coaches have come together, and we've formed routines, and we've been practicing together, and we've been marching in parades together.
So recently, your groups were in the Ithaca Festival Parade, and
Yes.
and Addie, Lily was there too,
No, Lily was not there for that one.
but she
she
was
in
in
the
another
hospital?
parade,
She was in
right?
the hospital at that point.
Yes,
Okay.
Lily was in the hospital at that point, but she has since gotten out of the hospital and is much stronger than she was, and she has now been in 2 parades with potential for more.
Okay, so I think we have a couple pictures that you guys brought with us, and the first one is a picture of Lily. So if we could take a look at that picture.
So this is at the Interlaken Old Home Days, and we were so thrilled. We weren't sure if Lily was going to make it, and when we pulled up and saw her there, we were just so excited. She got one of these little pinwheel whirlybirds, and she was pretty thrilled to be holding it.
And how long ago is this?
This was just 2 weekends ago.
Okay, so this
So
is
this
recent.
is very recent. Yes, and so we put her at the back of all of our twirlers because obviously we have metal rods, and I don't want to make any problems for her. So and our music is
Throwing
quite
pieces of metal in the air.
exactly, and our music is quite loud, so I didn't want to put her up at the front either. So we put her as a caboose, and she seemed to have a really great time. And
Okay.
the girls were certainly thrilled to have her. There she is.
Oh, she's got a baton.
This has a little purple baton, and she's wearing a T-shirt that has our little logo on it. That's Lily's Marching Hope.
Okay, and if we go on to the next picture, this is just a practice session?
I'm not sure if this is a practice, but we're all in costume, so it's either a practice or it's at a parade.
Is it Senator
I think if we go to the next one, we can see the costume.
Yes, this is, we have different units that march. We have an older one baton group who.
That's a funny looking baton.
Yes, this is a hoop baton, and they go behind our oldest girls.
A hoop baton?
A hoop baton is like a hula hoop that has a baton screwed into it.
Wow.
And it's really fun. The kids can twirl it around. For the Macy's parade, we would like to make them look like wreaths and dress them up like they're wreaths. So that's kind of fun. And this is Emily Crane and some of the other girls in her group.
Okay, well, I've never heard of a hoop baton. That's very interesting. All right, next picture, please.
And this is our group. It's a very large group, as you can see, at the Ithaca Festival Parade. We're getting ready to, I'm trying to line these girls up. They're in horrible lines, but I must be at the very front of the pack. So that's, we were so excited with Ithaca Festival Parade. As you know, usually Ithaca Festival Parade happens on a Thursday, and I maybe get half of my team to come down because it's a work night, there's school the next day, and they moved the parade, luckily, to Friday.
To Friday instead of
And
a Thursday.
I hear there were over 10,000 people at the parade, but we were very well received, and it was pretty exciting. Anytime the girls tossed, all the audience was very receptive and cheering on, and it gave us a little taste of what Macy's will be like.
Ah, that's wonderful. And here we have,
This is just our last parade, which was the Ovid Strawberry Festival Parade. And Lily got to march with us. She really wanted that pinwheel whirlybird, but I sadly forgot them at my house. So she did quite well on her own, and there she is waving at the audience. She has a lot of fans out there.
and for, I know for the Ithaca Festival Parade, because I was there, you were marching as Lily's Marching Hope.
Yes.
So even though it's not the Macy's Parade yet, already you're marching as kind of a combined twirling corps?
Exactly, and we've been marching all season. All of our parades, we've been marching as Lily's Marching Hope. We've done our way with the Pride. We did our competition and our recital, and we did them early this year, and so that we could get out marching. So that ended in March, and we started right up in April, and
You've been
working
Lily's
hard
Marching
since
Hope
then.
ever since?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And that's pretty much going to continue all year as you go through this project?
We'll see if we're accepted into Macy's, because there is an audition process, and if we're accepted into Macy's, then that will continue until November, so we'll be in several
So
of
is
the
this, we're looking at a group here, a picture.
This is
Here's
the
Lily's
107
Marching Hope.
of
Here's your
them.
banner.
Lily's right up in the front, and this is all of the kids who are involved, and that was at our audition, and this will be one of the pictures that gets sent out to the Macy's headquarters for
Okay,
our
so
audition
this is not
packet.
just one twirling group. This is all the combined group all
Yes.
together.
Yes.
And they're all in their costumes, and this is what they're going to march with.
Yes.
Okay, so that's really, that helps give us a little bit of background. And for anybody that saw the parade, you saw Lily's Marching Hope. You saw them go through. You saw the group that's hoping to get into the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade that we've all watched every year of our lives on Thanksgiving Day. And how did you come up with that idea?
I just wanted to be able to spread the news about juvenile Huntington's disease as big as we possibly could. And I couldn't think of anything bigger than the Macy's parade.
So how do you get into the Macy's parade?
There's a process. You have to submit an audition tape, and you have to give them a picture, and you have to be a performance group of a certain caliber, and you have to have certain credentials, and there's some other things that you have to include in your packet. But the main things are the audition video. That's really where they're going to decide. And it needs to be a large enough group that they take notice. I couldn't bring 10 twirlers.
Like 10 twirlers,
right.
And that's just too small for New York City.
Right, exactly.
Okay, it is the Big Apple. It
Right.
needs a big group. And 107 people is sizable enough that
Yes,
you
and
can-
my hope is that we can continue with this, that you know, this is an awesome opportunity, and if we do make it to Macy's, fantastic. But if we don't make it to Macy's, that's okay. We're going to continue marching as Lily's Marching Hope, and when it's parade season next season, I love to get that banner back out and dust
if
off our...
Lily's health permits, she'll be coming along with.
I don't think I can keep her out, so yes.
One of the sweetest things happened this weekend. We had one of my parents, and she's actually the cheerleading coach, and there's a cheerleading group from Trumansburg that is joining us. They're the girls in the turquoise costumes, and they, so Michelle, the cheerleading coach, one of her family members has a car that was in Car Pride, and they were in the parade, and it was a convertible, very fancy, shiny, polished.
I would have rode.
And they came to Lily and asked if she would like to ride in the car.
Ooh.
And she shook her head no, and she wanted to stay
wanted to be
her
with her group.
And I just thought that was great. That warmed my heart.
She wanted to march. She waved at everybody and anybody. There was no one that didn't get love from the center, from her during the parade. That's good to see, because she hasn't been that active because she was sick.
So Addie, how has Lily's Marching Hope affected Lily?
It's allowing her to participate with a group of kids and meeting other girls, because some of these girls have never met Lily before that day that they were auditioning. Some of them had not met her, and yet they came up and they were asking intelligent questions to me about Huntington's, as well as just greeting Lily and telling them how pleased they were to be there. And so it allows her to join her group in a way that she is able to participate. So she wants to wear her purple shirt, not the sequins, sorry. She doesn't like sequins. So she wants the pinwheel if she can, and if she can't do that, she's out there waving at everybody and participating. And so it allows her to still be in the community and not just be in her house, in her room, or hanging out at home without socializing. So it's been good for her.
So in addition to just getting the word out about juvenile Huntington's disease, you actually are helping Lily.
Oh, yes. Her quality of life is better.
So I understand that you have already done a recording for your audition
Yes, we have.
video for the Macy's Day Parade, and that we have a little bit of it that we can show people.
Yes, we actually have 2.5 hours worth, but
Oh my
let's not go crazy. So I think what we're going to show is just a little splice, a little taste of what we do.
Okay, so we have a short clip from the application video. It may not be edited yet. I think that they did shoot 2.5 hours, but they can't send all that much into Macy's. But we've got a couple minutes that we can show you, so you can see what the group looks like marching together. And take a look. Okay, we're back, and I hope you enjoyed that taste of Lily's Marching Hope, and maybe, if we're all very lucky, you'll get to see the group from Cuga Lake and all the towns around marching in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which will be great for all of us. We'll have our own pinwheels here at home cheering you on when that happens.
Fantastic.
Do you have more parades coming up? Do you have a July 4th parade? And then, I mean, you've got,
Maybe.
there's lots of parades when you
We
think
have
about
a couple. We have a couple in the works. We've been asked to do a July 4th parade, actually a July 2nd parade. We're not sure if that's on the calendar yet, but we are marching in several fair parades. So we're marching in the Hector Fair Parade the end of July, and then we're marching in the Trumansburg Fair. And then if we are accepted into Macy's, we'll march in the Veterans Day Parade in Ithaca to give us a taste of that cold weather.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so it's really quite a project, and it's amazing how everybody supported you. And one thing that you mentioned to me, and you kind of alluded to it here, was the way that it's brought different groups of girls who weren't necessarily friends and were actually competitors together. How did that happen, and how did that feel to you?
Oh, one thing that was just, it was totally unintended, but it has been awesome, is in our twirling community, it's not known for being overly friendly or supportive of one another. Groups stay to their own and they compete against one another, and we do not root each other on really or watch each other. We just don't watch our competition at all. And what happened is when these groups started getting to know one another and the parents started talking and the kids started talking, we found that we all are very passionate and have this same love. And so by not making twirling the center of focus, but making Lily the center of focus, we were able to really concentrate on the fact that we all love this sport. And so one wonderful thing that happened is that a few weeks ago we had a competition in Seneca Falls, and it happened that all of the kids that were going to be participating with the parade were at the competition, and it was such a different environment, one that I had never really witnessed before. The twirlers were watching one another, and they were cheering for one another, and they were giving each other high fives, and they were really supportive of the different groups and the different styles, and they were just had a better consciousness of twirling as a whole instead of twirling as our own little group.
Mm-hmm. And so it's really interesting because not only has your great idea helped Lily, because as her mom says, it's let her be part of the twirling community and part of the community and kept her involved and embraced by the group, but Lily has helped the group in response too, because this idea has then suddenly given esprit de corps and a sense of cooperation and ability to cheer on each other instead of just compete. And
it's been helpful to have one common goal that wasn't twirling.
Yeah.
Our goal is to work together to spread the news about juvenile Huntington's disease. And when that was the focus, it didn't matter that we were competitors.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and for talking about this. And for those of us that saw Lily's Marching Hope like I did, I saw it in the parade, but I didn't really know what it meant. And you've kind of, I'm sure lots of people in Ithaca saw it but didn't know what it meant, and you've explained all of that, and I really appreciate understanding a little bit more, and I'm rooting for you like crazy to be in that parade. I think we have some information that we're going to put up at the end of the screen where you can look up on the internet and find out some more information about juvenile Huntington's in case you want to know a little bit more about this and what it means for Lily and why and what people are doing about it. And if I just can't really say enough how much I admire you, Addie, for really working to keep Lily as involved and active as she can, and taking your cues from her. It's really difficult, and it seems like you've been doing it in a way that touches a lot of hearts, and so it's really quite amazing and very touching, and really amazing what you've done too, since you've helped Lily and Lily's helped you, and you've helped the community become more sensitive to each other and more loving towards all of our members. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
For those of you at home, thanks for joining us. This wasn't just another fun thing to do this summer, but we do have the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade to look forward to, where there might be some girls of our very own from the Finger Lakes region that we can be rooting for. Thanks so much for joining me. Good night.